In this lecture, we'll be placing text on an image using CSS as shown in this example. Here, you can see we have a div that contains a background image. We also have a div that contains a semi-transparent text box with some text. In order to do this, we'll be working with nested divs. A nested div is a div that is contained within another. The div that contains the nested div is known as a container. To begin, create a basic HTML page structure and save the file as imagetext.html. The files for this lesson are located in your Downloads folder. Now let's create a style sheet with two ID selectors. One ID for the div that will have the background image, and the second for the div that will contain the black text box. We'll call the first ID selector background. We'll start with the background image declaration. We'll set the path to the txtbg.jpg file. And again, this file is located in your Downloads folder. Once you have that declaration complete, also put in a padding declaration of 40 pixels. The padding declaration will add a 40 pixel space between the text box perimeter and the background perimeter, as shown here. That's this space right over here. Now we'll create the second ID selector. And we'll call this text box. We can set the width to auto. So it takes up the full length of its container, which will be the background div. Set the height to 100 pixels. Opacity will set to 80%. Background color is black. And the padding will be 10 pixels. This will create some spacing from the text inside the div to the perimeter of the black text box. You can see we have a space here. Lastly, we need to create one class, and this will just make our text color white. With our style sheet complete, we can create our divs in the body, between the body tags. The first div will be our background. So we'll reference the background ID. Inside the background, we'll be nesting the text box div. And inside the text box div, we'll be nesting a div that will contain the text. So we'll attach the text class to this div. Okay, now you'll just need to type some text inside this div. You can either copy a block of text or you can type your own. I'll just paste in a block I have here. So with that created, we can save our file. And let's go ahead and preview it. And so there we have it. The background image, the text box, and the white text contained within the text box. You can also see that the background of the text box is semi-transparent.